Hey everybody, this is Bo with the Morning Devo. And though I can't seem to get the live thing to work right now, I thought I'd just record something and send it up because, man, I want you guys to be in the Word. And it's morning there, even though it's afternoon where I'm at. I'm in Texas, in Rockport, Texas, with a wonderful family and just having great fellowship and enjoying the really sticky, humid weather. And a lot of mosquitoes. So, but we're in Hebrews chapter 12. I hope to see you guys soon in about a week or so. And until then, I just wanted to kind of put some stuff up there for you guys. This is the race of faith. So it says, therefore also since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. And this is Hebrews chapter 12. And it just talked about all the people of faith. Do you remember some of those people that we talked about? And you get the idea that is like we're in a stadium, a coliseum, and we're being cheered on in a game, right, by all these great cloud of witnesses. People of faith: Abraham, Noah, Sarah. We go down the list: Gideon, Samson, Daniel. Just goes on and on, right? And that they're in the stands cheering us on, which is really an interesting concept if you think about it. And it's interesting too, because it says the angels long to look into this wonderful grace that we've been given as well. And so in a sense, they look at our lives and they see us too. And that's what an interesting concept that is, that man, we're being cheered on or looked upon. And we don't have to fear that at all, but we can really just revel in the mighty family of God that is cheering us on. Now, the writer wants to encourage these people, so he says, hey, let us lay aside the weight and the sin that so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that's set before us, looking unto Jesus. So the point is let's look unto Jesus and let's not look at other things. There's different things that are weights and snares in our life, things, and it could be things that you think are small, but they just are hindrances to your running your race unencumbered. And so those things, it's easier for us just to take off those weights and just say, hey, I'm not going to have this backpack with this weight on it. It might be that one issue, that thing that you tend to go to, or some other thing that's not necessarily a sinful issue, but it's a weight. It's something that gives you a burdenshoe. Now, the recipients of this letter, you think of their weights and the sins that so easily ensnared them. And the weights were religious weights of religion, burden, ceremonies, atonement sacrifice, things of this nature, going back to the Old Testament law of God, trying to come to Jesus or come to God through a ceremonial observance, those type of things. Those were things that were weights on them. That's what the Bible calls the yoke, a bondage, kind of a yoke, a religious yoke, trying to get to God, a holy God, by your good works. Can never happen. That's why it's a weight on you. And so he says, lay aside the weights and the sin that so easily ensnares. Look unto Jesus. Look unto the greatest atonement, the better atonement, right? He is the author and the finisher of our faith. And that's how he puts it. He's the author. The author is the one that pens or writes the plan, right? He's the author, and then he's the finisher. He's also the doer. So that's the interesting thing about Jesus, right? He not only writes the plan of salvation, he authors it, but he also implements it as well. Isn't that great? It says, who for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and is sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. What a beautiful section, right? That he is not only the author and finisher of our faith, he's the one who designed it, he's the initiator of it, but he also went to that cross with amazing joy. He endured the cross, despising the shame, who for the joy that was set before him. And I can't help but think that when that thief on the cross next to Jesus said to Jesus, hey, I believe in you, And Jesus said to him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." Man, there was a welt up in Jesus' heart of amazing joy, knowing that he was making, through his atonement, he was making you and me and that thief on the cross right through his shed blood, through his propitiation, his sacrifice for us. And Jesus, when he looked at that thief on the cross, there was joy. And just as when he looks to you, as you trust in him, there is an amazing joy. See, there's no greater joy that Jesus has than to glorify his Father by making his bride, a people for himself, white. Right? As white as snow. Though your sins be as scarlet, he will make you white as snow. And that's what Jesus has done. And that was joy for him, to see the betterment of us, to see us in a better place. See, he's not only the better high priest, but he's the one who makes us better. He brings us into betterment. And that's his great joy. And hopefully that's your joy in other people today. Is your joy in them is seeing their betterment. And that gives you great joy as well. So what a pattern for living, right? For all of us in our life, just in these first couple verses, right? Since we're surrounded by so many people of faith, so many people have walked faith before, and we want to read their stories and learn about them because that encourages us. John Bunyan, Jonathan Newton, William Cooper. I think of so many different people. Tyndale, Wycliffe. You get it. There's so many different people that you can read about, and their faith, and it encourages us, and know that we too are running that same race. And then because we're running that race, and because we're surrounded by so many people who've done it before, we can also throw off different things that are hindering us. Religiosity, right? Going back to a religious idea with God, and instead we can come boldly to that throne of grace, right? We can come to Jesus, who's the author and finisher. Jesus is the one who authors it, and he's the one who initiates it. He is worthy of our worship. We can come to him, and remembering that Jesus gave us a pattern for living, in that we can receive joy. We can have joy as we endure what we need to endure, and we can despise the shame, just as Jesus went through times of shame. The shame of the cross, right? The shame of dying on the cross, the shame of being considered a curse. We too can bear that ourselves, knowing that there's a greater, there's a better. And just as Jesus sat down at the right hand of the throne of God, right? Just as he sat down in his completed work, it is finished, so we too can rest in that finished work of Jesus Christ today. So those two verses are awesome. And I hope you guys just continue to think through it, maybe do a little writing on it of, hey, what are things that weigh me down? What are things that hinder me from running that race? And start working on those things. And sometimes they can be outward things, like drinking or things of that nature, or they could be inner things too, like fear or insecurity, or greed, things of that nature that can hinder us as well, where we need to just lay those things before the Lord. So, hey, good being with you guys from Rockport, Texas. Have a great one. Stay in the Word. Okay? Bye-bye.